What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video here at CHOCTAW in Durant, Oklahoma. This is day 2 of the $3,800 main event. We bagged around 51 big blinds and it's gonna be a fun day today. Hopefully putting in another 9 hours. Day 1 was a brutal one. I normally play 4 hours for each cash session, so these 9-hour days definitely take a toll on me, but we hit the lab a little bit of tournament studying. We're gonna go in there and try to win our share of the $2 million prize pool. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this tournament vlog. Let's go.
Rent got too expensive, had to leave LA. So I got into my car and I went away to the big estate. Playing poker every day. Going all in with these fish like I'm at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
We end up bagging 126k chips after 9 hours of play on day 1. 90 minutes to and from Dallas, we're back in Durant, Oklahoma the next day for day 2, and we're feeling pretty great. Easton snagged some awesome clips of us in action for the WPT socials. There's only one thing we've got our eyes on, it's the trophy. Oh, and the $400,000 up top. Let's get to work. We find ourselves at the 1.5K, 2.5K, 2.5K blind level. Say that 3 times fast. We look down at King 10 of clubs from the +1 position. I make a standard raise. You pretty much just want to be min raising at these blind levels. That's what I decided to do, and the big blind defends. And we see a pretty great flop for us when it comes King, Queen, Jack with 1 club. We have top pair and open-ended straight draw. When the villain in the big blind checks it over to me, I decided to go for a 25% pot size bet. Very small here. I think I don't need to go large on this board. And sure enough, the villain folds. We're going to take down that pot, so a great start to the day already. See if we can build some momentum here in the next hand where we look down at pocket jacks. The jiggities from the button. I'm hoping to channel some inner Brad Owen here. He's been playing a lot of WPT tournaments. Let's see if I can get the job done here with the jiggities. We're at the same blind level, but our opponent this time is none other than WENG. For many of you guys watching, you will not know who he is. He's not a household name for the recreationals, but if you guys are in the tournament poker scene, this guy is an absolute crusher. Only about 3 days ago, this guy final tabled a $1.1 million WPT event. He has to fly all the way out to Vegas for that later this month. And instead of taking some time off, he flies out to the middle of nowhere in Oklahoma and decides to play this main event. And just like that, he is in the top 5 chip stacks on this day 2. So yeah, he's a very good opponent here from the middle position, and he makes a min raise up to 5.5K. When it folds around to us on the button, a lot of factors at play. The first one of note is the quality of the opponent. He's very good, he's very aggressive. He knows he has a lot of chips, so he's going to want to be raising a lot pre-flop and taking down a lot of dead money against passive opponents. So I know that factor. And the second factor is I have pocket jacks. It's a great hand. It's going to be ahead of a large portion of Bin's raising range. So of course I'm going to be 3-betting. I go for a standard size of 15,500 chips. And he defends his open, and we are going heads up in position to a flop, which is decent for our range, but not exactly my hand. It comes ace-10-9 with 2 hearts. Bin checks it over to me, which I would expect him to do with a large portion of his range. Shouldn't have too big of a leading range on this board. That's neither here nor there. When he checks it over to me, I go pretty small for around 1/3 the size of the pot, hoping to get a fold and get out of this hand and move on to the next one. That's not what happens. Bin gets a little bit sticky here. He doesn't have a top 5 chip stack from folding. He puts in the call, and we are off to the turn. The turn now comes the deuce of diamonds, brings in a backdoor flush draw with the diamonds. That front door heart draw is still there. I have one of each of those suits in my hand, and Bin checks it over to me for a second time. Now, do I continue barreling on this turn? I think a small portion of the time I should, but I think a large majority of the time I just want to check back here, see what he does on the river, and maybe call off some bluffs, or just check behind and get to a cheaper showdown. When Bin checks it over to me, I decide to check behind, and we are off to the river, which comes the 8 of spades. A lot of the draws break off being the heart and diamond flush draws. However, Queen Jack now makes a straight, and I guess 7-6 also has a straight. However, I do have 2 jacks in my hand, so Queen Jack seems a little bit less likely. Bin is a great player, like I've said 100 times. I'll stop saying it, I promise. But look at this play from him. He jams all in for 101K. It's not all in for him, but it's all in for me. That's my effective stack size. Now, let's keep in mind the buy-in for this tournament is $3,800. I am not staked at all. That's all my own money. Will I be playing scared money? Absolutely not. At the same time, though, pocket jacks is a bluff catcher. If I'm calling here, I'm pretty much putting him on a missed draw. I do block 2 of the draws, having queen jack, so maybe it weighs a little bit more towards value when he's jamming here. If he's going to be jamming with a lot of bluffs, he's also going to be jamming with all of his aces, all of his pocket 10s, 9s. I think 10s and 9s would go for a check raise on the flop a large portion of the time, but this is a really tricky spot. It's for my entire tournament life. If I call here, I'll be up over 200,000 chips, a very healthy stack. If I call and I'm wrong, I will have lost this hand, and bin will probably be back-to-back final tables in WPT events. A pretty gross spot, and definitely a capable opponent, so I could be calling here sometime. In this spot, though, I ultimately decide to fold. Let me know down in the comments before you see the results of this hand what you guys think of this fold. Unfortunately for us, bin decides to muck his cards face down. I mean, why would he give out free information? But lucky for us, Poker.org decided to write an article on this, and later on in the session, they asked bin what he had, and he said he was bluffing there, so it definitely feels pretty gross for me folding the best hand, but I think he's going to be doing this with a lot of his aces, a lot of his 2 pairs, some of his sets, and then of course all the bluffs. Unfortunately, he did have a bluff in this one spot, but that's how it goes. We live and you learn, and we are moving on into the next hand. Let's see if we can find a double up. All right, fun hand here. I look down at ace king of spades from the small blind. You can see that my stack has dwindled down to around 48,000. We are at the 2K, 4K, 4K blind level, which means we have just around 12 big blinds. We're going to be shoving with a lot of our hands, not only ace king of spades. It just so happens that we do in fact have a premium hand. The villain in the cutoff raises it up to 9K, and I of course rip my entire stack in for 48,000. Big blind gets out of the way, and the cutoff puts in the call. We should be ahead of him here. Let's see what he has. King, queen offsuit. Look at that. We are a 75% favorite to win this hand. That's how I want to get it in. Huge favorite here. Let's see if we can hold in this 104K pot. Unfortunately, the window card is a queen of diamonds, which is absolutely disgusting, and it brings the villain up to 86% on the flop. The turn, it gets worse for us, coming the 4 of diamonds. We don't have one of those in our hand. And the river seals our fate. It's another diamond. That 104K pot is getting shipped over to the villain. And we are out in 130th place, but kudos to us, 612 entrants. They're not all unique. A bunch of people fired multiple bullets, but still, 612 people entered. I'm busting out in 130th. Unfortunately, around 70 people paid in this, so we are not getting any money. Definitely grateful for the experience and happy that I at least got it in good. All right, they got me. I ripped ace-king over a late position open there. He had king-queen, which was a good spot for us until the queen comes on the flop. That's going to do it for my $3,800 main event, but the video's not over. I'm going to head downstairs and try to play some 2-5, 75% match. We can probably get a few grand on the table. Maybe make my tournament buy-in come back to life here and into my pockets. But yeah, pretty cool experience here at the main event, and I'm definitely going to be playing a lot more. The Lodge is coming up, and then the World Series of Poker. I'm finally going out there for a few weeks. I'm going to play probably the main event out there, so wish me some luck. I think I played decent in this tournament, a lot to study, a lot to get better with, but yeah, as for right now, we're going to get back to the bread and butter, the cash games. Let's go. All right, we make our way down to the poker room, which is actually a half a mile away. That's how big this casino is. It's in a completely different wing of the casino. We hop into the 1-2 game, which is a $500 max buy-in. While we wait for the 2-5 seat, we pick up pocket threes here from the small blind. A villain in middle position opens it up to $12. There's a bunch of callers, and by a bunch, I mean everybody but one person at the table. We put in the call with pocket threes from the small blind, and we see a favorable flop, which comes 6-3-3, bang, we flop quads. We haven't been running so good in the tournament, so why not make it back in cash? Flopping quads is a pretty great sight to see. It hasn't happened in a while, so yeah, we're not going to take this one for granted. Middle position does not slow down. She bets out for $22, and a villain on the button puts in the call as well. I'm not going for a check raise here. I'm just going to call. Hopefully another heart peels off. Hopefully another 6 and someone has like a 6x type of hand. We put in the call and we are off to the turn, and it comes one of those magical cards, the 6 of diamonds. Any 6 now is going to pay us off. We should be able to get stacks in. So I'm not going to lead out. I'm going to play it cool, calm, and collected and check it over to middle position, who surprisingly decides to check it over to the button. I think at this point, middle position has some sort of hand like ace, king, ace, queen, or more likely than that is an overpair to the 6, so like 7s through 10s. I think that's a lot more likely in this spot. Unfortunately also, the button checks behind, which pretty much means that that person does not have a 6 in their hand. So we're going to have to do the betting ourselves, but another great card comes in on the river, the King of Hearts. So not only any 6 has a boat, any 2 hearts now have a flush, and that was the front door draw. So it's likely maybe the button has that type of hand. Now, how do we get most of the money in? I think betting is the best play in the long run. Sure, we could go for a check raise, but if we bet out here, any 6 is going to raise us, any flush is going to call. So that's what I decided to do. I go for an $85 bet into the $140 pot. I think I should go larger here, in all honesty, $125 to $175. Just go for immense greed, get a little greedy here and bet out for more money, but that's neither here nor there. The villain in middle position puts in the call, the button gets out of the way, I turn over the goods.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get him.
Oh, damn, you got it.
Quads.
Nice hands.
Thanks. And she turns over pocket 9. So just like we thought, she had the overpair. Couldn't get away from it, unfortunately for her. But we are scooping in that pot. First one of the night with quads. The poker gods are smiling down upon us. Our name gets called for the lucky seat drawing. There's about 50 to 75 people in the room, and only one person every hour gets their chance at poker kachingo. What is poker kachingo, you might ask? Well, check it out in this clip. You drop a ball, it's a ping pong ball, and basically wherever it lands, that's the amount of money you're gonna get. And what do I get? The second highest prize, $750. Let's freaking go. And an awesome fan of the vlog helped us record it. With our newfound $750, our name finally gets called for the 2-5 game. We're in for 1844. All right, first hand of the 2-5 table, I look down at Queen 10 of Hearts, a premium, and I raise it up to $45 over a button straddle. There's 2 players that put in the call, and we are going 3 ways to a flop. And it comes ace, ace, queen, and the action checks through. I don't really see a point in betting here. We'll either be way ahead or way behind. So I check, the action checks through, and the deuce of diamonds peels off on the turn. I check it over once again, and the action checks through, bringing in the king of spades on the river. And now I get a little bit funny here and bet out for $5. I don't know why I did this. Occasionally I'll just do something funny for the vlog. And the opponent puts in the call with pocket 9s. We turn over our queen. And just like that, we are going to scoop that hand. All right, if quads wasn't the hand of the vlog, then this one definitely will do it. We look down at ace, queen of diamonds, and I raise it up to $50 from under the gun. There was a $10 button straddle. That's why I decided to go pretty large. And we are going to go Texas heads up here. When 4 players put in the call, we are going 5 ways to the flop. The flop is pretty great for us. It comes queen 10 3. We have top, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Life is pretty good. There's 4 other opponents to get value from in this hand. And I decided to lead out into the field for $115. I think also checking is a fine play. When you're multi-way and out of position, got to be doing a lot of checking as well. But it can't be wrong here, betting out with top, just finding out where we're at. The player to my left, who is a good, competent opponent, I saw him upstairs in the $3,800 main event. He decides to put in the flat call here for $115, and that's the only villain in the hand. We are going heads up, out of position to a turn, which gives us 2 pair. Ace of spades peels off on the turn. We're now beating hands the likes of queen 10 exactly. Other than that, he still could have pocket 10s, pocket 3s, and maybe he could have ace queen as well. Although I think he might have 3-bet me pre-flop, given the fact he is a good, strong opponent. I don't think slowing down here makes any sense. I want to keep betting, so I decided to fire out now large for $320. There's 430 in the middle, so that's basically a 75% pot size bet. And surprisingly to me, the player in the +1 position puts in the call. I'm hoping he has queen 10 here instead of 10s or 3s, but we're going to find out on the river. Let's see what it brings in. It comes to 8 of spades. Really shouldn't change too much unless he has a hand like jack 9. Of course, now he would have rivered the straight, maybe even king jack as well. I think betting here is fine at a small percentage, but you know what I like even more than betting? Checking. The reason I like checking is all of his strong hands like 10s and 3s. We're not going to raise those, we're only going to put in the call. Additionally, if he picked up a draw like a spade draw and bricked off, he's going to bet those as a bluff a large portion of the time. And all those straights like king jack and jack 9 are just going to bet, we're just going to call, there's no more money going to go in the middle. So I think I like a check here, and the villain in the +1 position goes for a polarizing bet of $750. It's around 75% the size of the pot. I can't do anything other than putting in the call, never raising, never folding with top 2. I put in the call, and the opponent turns over the exact same hand.
Alrighty. Well, we'll chop that one up. Take back your money.
What's that like? It's like kissing your sister?
Yeah. I went runner for the nuts.
So very anticlimactic. Everyone at the table just wasted about 2 minutes of their life. But at the end of the day, we are chopping up that pot when I turn over the other suited ace-queen. And just like that, that 2.5K pot gets split in half, and we take down peanuts. But I guess at least we didn't lose to pocket tens.
All right, here we go. It's gonna come out red or black, red or black, red or black, everybody. I get a good picture of that.
Oh my God. Am I out?
Oh, you
Attaboy, attaboy, keep it coming.
Oh, you got a chance too.
Oh no, it's over. All right, last hand of the night, I look down at 7-4 of diamonds from the $10 straddle. There's one limper over to middle position who opens up to $65, and the player in the big blind and under the gun limper both put in the call. I put in the call as well from the button, closing the action. And we are going to go off 4 ways to a flop, which gives me middle pair, Jack 4 deuce with 1 diamond. The action checks through on the flop, bringing in the 9 of clubs on the turn. The action checks through on the turn once again, and the 3 of spades peels off on the river. Are we good in this hand? Can 7-4 of diamonds take down this $262 pot? Yes, they can. Let's freaking go. Ship that pot over to me, dealer. And with that last hand in the books, we rack up our chips and head over to the cage. Ending a marathon 2 days here at Choctaw, but at least we are ending it in the right direction. That $750 bonus mixed with a few wins here got us feeling pretty good.
Skill game. Skill. Skill. Let's go, baby. Is there a way to like skip this?
Yeah, I think if you just press the button, it'll end.
Can I push a button?
No, yeah, that button.
Oh, 88, okay. Let's go, man.
All right, that's gonna wrap up my last few days here at Choctaw. We made day 2 and I lost 3,800, ace king versus king queen. Shout out to the dealer if you're watching this. No hard feelings there, just how it goes sometimes in tournaments. But then we got on the way down to the poker room. It's kind of an interesting situation here at Choctaw. You gotta walk like half a mile to get to the actual poker room. Bought into the 1-2 game, ran up like a $350 profit. Ended up getting that lucky seat drawing for $750. That was pretty cool. Then went to 2-5, made another $350. So all in all, I made back $1,480 out of that $3,800 buy-in. So not the end of the world there. A lot of fun. A lot more tournaments coming your way. And you know how the people say, if you're feeling froggy, take a leap. Well, I'm feeling pretty froggy. A lot of big tournaments coming. I'm taking a leap. We are jumping in the deep end head first. So appreciate all the support, you guys. We just broke 100K and we're almost on our way to 200K at this point on YouTube. Appreciate all the support. Good luck on the felt, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!